What's up, YouTube? It's your brother YT. Wake 'em up, back at it again with another video. Homeowners are losing their homes due to unpaid HOA fees. Homeowners associations are not playing. If you have an HOA, you gotta pay those fees or they'll come for your home. It don't matter if it's a couple $100 fee. They're liable to take that property from you. And this is what is happening. We're about to get into it. Y'all know in between the video, I will drop the knowledge and give my input. At any time, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think and how you feel about what you're watching. Family, you already know what to do. And if you're brand new too, thumbs up this video so YouTube can push this content out. Smash subscribe to join the tribe and ring the post notification bell as well. All right, let's get into it.
I'm a single mom.
Margot refinanced her house in 2020 to pay off the first balance of nearly $10,000, estimating she's now out of pocket on fees and fines alone.
Nearly $20,000.
County records show she's also one of dozens of homeowners in the neighborhood of 165 homes that the HOA has filed liens on.
I'm the very first person in my family to own a home. I grew up in a trailer. I had no idea it was going to be like this.
Metro Atlanta real estate attorney Patience Casey Sadie tells me she's seeing more and more HOAs operate through hired management companies.
These management companies have 10, 20, 30 other associations that they're managing. And if a homeowner has a concern, they email the management company, no response. They call, no response. There's no office for them to show up at, and the board members are not responding.
Making it nearly impossible for residents to appeal or negotiate with their HOA.
A lot of homeowners are frustrated in that process, and rightfully so, because most of their concerns and grievances can be handled pretty quickly as long as they get some kind of response.
Under current Georgia law, an HOA can place a lien on a home for any amount. They can foreclose on a home if that amount exceeds $2,000.
You call, no response. They have no offices you can go to and ask questions. Man, this is like a bully type of tactic. It's like they are bullying these people out of their properties and they're doing it on purpose. They're going to have questions. Some people don't understand how this fully works. They have concerns. And there's nobody there to help assist them. They're managing all of these properties, but they're not helping the homeowners get through when they need to. That's sad. They can place a lien if you owe any amount that you owe. They can place a lien on your home in the state of Georgia. And if it exceeds $2,000, then they can foreclose on that home. Just $2,000. That's all it takes.
Listen to me. If you plan on ever buying a home, do not, I repeat, do not ever get a home with an HOA. I am currently getting sued by my HOA. If you don't know what an HOA is, it's a homeowners association. So when you buy a home, like in a community or whatever, they're the people who like take care of things within the neighborhood. If there's amenity, trash sometimes, lawn services and like that type of thing. I first purchased my home like 5 years ago now. When I first got my home, my HOA started at $200, which was, that's about average. It made sense. My community is very it's real basic, okay? There's no gym, there's no security, there's no gate. They do have a pool, but it's like a community pool. It's not one of those cute, nice pools. It's very I don't even want to swim in it. I have not swam in the pool since I've been there. It's rough, okay? Since then, my HOA rate has gone up to $450 per month. Nothing has changed since the $200 per month. It's just gone up. Apparently, they're just allowed to do that with no rhyme or reason. Inflation, aliens, they can say whatever they want, but the price can just go up and you really have no say. Earlier this year, my HOA decided that they need to waterproof the crawl space under the units. This cost us homeowners an additional $500 per month for 7 months. So the $450 plus $500 plus my mortgage. That's 2 mortgages. So all of a sudden my HOA is now $950 per month. I have all my stuff on auto pay because I ain't trying to remember where my money gotta go. I'm gonna forget. So when the rate changed, my auto pay just stayed, what I had it set at. So I missed the first couple payments. Then I peeped what was going on and I reached out to my HOA yo, I ain't got $950 per month just for my HOA. I ain't got it. I don't have it. And that's crazy. So what do they decide to do? They decide to hire lawyers to basically force me to give them money I don't have. On top of the $950, which I think over the course of 7 months had totaled up to $3,500 total. So now on top of that, they're now also charging me for their lawyer fees, for the lawyers they hired to sue me. Make it make sense. How, where, in what world does that make sense? Now I owe my HOA $10,000 and I'm just like, hello? I'm trying to negotiate with these people like, yo, I don't have that. Can we just settle for like the actual amount of like the fucking crawl space or whatever? Like I'll figure out that money and just get, and they're like, no, you need to pay our lawyer fees too. Okay, well, I ain't got, like, I literally don't have it. What you want me to do? I live in Atlanta, so I don't know if it's different in other states, but here, baby, in Atlanta, they got free reign. They could just out of nowhere raise your HOA to $950 per month. That's literally another mortgage. Why would you do that? What is the reason? If any of y'all been through something like this or have some advice, maybe know something that I don't know, hey, help me out, okay? Help me out, because they about to lock me up. I don't know what happens when you get sued and you just don't have the money. I don't know what happens. I don't know if I go to jail. I don't know. If anybody else is going through this, has gone through this, let me know. And for everybody else who has not gone through this, if you can avoid it, don't get a house with an HOA, okay?
Wow. Okay, that was my question. How much are HOA fees usually? Hers doubled from 200 to 400. Everything is doubling. No matter if you live in an apartment, you live in a condo, a townhouse, or a home. There's going to be some type of fee that is going to go up more than you expected or anticipated when you first got in there. But your income, it won't go up double now, will it? She missed a couple of payments. Now she has to pay $950 per month. Whoa. Now this next video, this woman loses her $850,000 house due to missed HOA fees. And you will not guess the amount that the fees were that caused her to lose her house. I bet you won't even guess it. It's not a lot.
Loses her $850,000 house because of a $400 bill from the HOA. She said, I thought this was a joke. Put it at full mass. Miss Taylor Sanders, North Carolina woman, has now lost an $850,000 home. This is inching to $1 million after she missed a $400 payment to the Homeowners Association. So it led to foreclosure. She said, quote, oh my God, it's devastating for my children, she said. I don't wish this on anyone. So Sanders' story goes back 5 years, where she was first informed she owed $400 in unpaid dues to the Weddington Hills Homeowners Association. The HOA sent her multiple letters, but Sanders told Action 9 News she never received them. She acknowledged the $400 debt. The board moved ahead with punitive action and acquired a lien on the property. This happened on the 2021 of February. 2 months after that, she received a letter saying that she owed $1,200 now and was told foreclosure proceedings would soon commence. Quote, I thought it was a joke, Sanders told the station. It wasn't. And soon, Sanders would lose her 3,300 square foot home. It was sold according to county records for $49,000. But the indignity didn't stop there. 5 months later, the new owner flipped Sanders' home for $850,000 even. The Weddington Hills HOA has declined to comment, but their actions, according to the law, were entirely legal, leaving Sanders with no recourse. Currently, under North Carolina law, HOAs have the authority to place a lien on the property if homeowner does not pay fees and dues. If those dues remain unpaid, the HOA can initiate foreclosure proceedings. They've been given this power to enforce community standards, though, like Sanders, not everyone fully understands where their insights end and responsibilities begin. They are not a government entity. They are not classified as a traditional private company either. An HOA can foreclose if fines unpaid, but usually the goal is to resolve the issue with the homeowner, not a victim. North Carolina legislators are considering a bill that will give homeowners increased rights. The new law would require a homeowner's board to meet certain criteria before obtaining a lien on the property. This is one of the saddest stories of homeowners' rights. 99% of individuals in America will make their largest investment in their property, whatever their property may be, where they live, their domicile. That will be the single biggest investment you will likely make. And since it's likely the single biggest investment, you should have significant rights to that property. Significant rights. And an HOA that had nothing to do with qualifying you for the home, had nothing to do with the financing required, had nothing to do with your payments or your job or the hard work, sweat and tears you put into making sure you could pay that mortgage every month. Nothing to do with this. Can all of a sudden steal your property because of a $400 bill. And they're not required to prove that they sent you the letter. That's another dynamic. They're not required to prove it. They're simply required to know they did. All right, dear brother, thoughts here.
My thought is, who was running this HOA? Don Corleone? Who is this, the mafia? Because that's how it's seeming like it works. This is all part of this new Trump age movement where now we see dictatorships even on the community level. Taylor Sanders lost her home because of a $400 fine. There has to be some type of legal recourse for this action. This cannot be legal. How can we allow such a small, minute fine be the result of a home loss, especially in the United States of America? Even when the legal documents, let's say you get a fine by the police, they are required to make sure there's a notified form that they sent you this fine, letter, notice, agreement, whatever it is. And yet HOA has none of that legal obligation. That's absolutely ridiculous.
He worded that perfectly. What is this, the mafia? Y'all can just take people's houses like that over small fees. And there's no legality to stop them from doing this. This is legal. It shouldn't be. How is this possible for real? Why is this possible? Should be the question. If you want a free home or multiple free houses, you start you a homeowners association. If not free, you can get them for pennies on the dollar. That's what we all might as well look into. How do we start up our own homeowners association? Not seriously, because I wouldn't want to do that to nobody. And you probably wouldn't want to do that to nobody. But for just say somebody missed a $400 payment, you can have a $500,000 house. That's not right. But what's right in this country?
We need help. Our family is being harassed over a 35-year-old driveway. Since 2021, my family has been trapped in a civil lawsuit that's taken a huge emotional and financial toll on us. And it's not just about property lines anymore. It's about harassment, the safety of our children, and the future of our home. We live on a quiet piece of land in Camden County, North Carolina, where our driveway, like our neighbors, runs alongside an easement that has provided legal access to our homes for decades. For years, the county told us they own the easement. Based on this, we built our lives around it. Our driveways were established, our septic system was approved in relation to it, and it's how we've come and gone without issue until a few years ago. That changed when the homeowners behind us created a homeowners association, then suddenly produced a quitclaim deed claiming they now own the easement. Since then, they've launched an aggressive legal effort to force us to relocate our driveway to the main road, a move that would literally run through our drainage fields and ruin our septic tank. It's not just impractical, it's potentially catastrophic for our home. This HOA has used the lawsuit to harass us, including taking pictures of our children on our property. We felt unsafe and helpless as they've pushed us to give up land we've rightfully used for years as it was designed. Originally, Camden County, who we were told owned the easement, was part of the lawsuit and represented alongside us and our neighbor. Our attorney defended our rights diligently for years, but in March, due to a sudden medical retirement, he had to leave the case, leaving us completely without legal counsel. Yesterday, the judge released Camden County from the lawsuit, stating it's not their property, despite the county defending it for 4 years and telling us all along that it was. We were blindsided and were stunned, and now we're left alone to fight against a well-funded HOA that wants to cut off our only practical access to our home. Unfortunately, the HOA poisoned the well by talking to multiple attorneys in Camden and surrounding areas before settling with their Virginia Beach attorney, and now we're being told nobody can represent us due to the conflict of interest. We're desperate to find a new attorney to help us prove our adverse possession and right away to our properties, rights we believe we've earned and that are supported by decades of use and local understanding. This case is more than property lines now. It's about standing up to abuse of power, protecting my children's safety, and preserving the home we've worked so hard to maintain. So if you are an attorney or know someone who can help us, please reach out. We are tired, overwhelmed, and simply running out of options. This fight is far from over, but we can't do it alone. So if nothing else, please share this to get the word out that we need to find an attorney ASAP. We only have 90 days.
Homeowners are losing their houses to HOAs over unpaid fines. See, I made a video about HOAs and y'all thought I was just talking. Y'all didn't think that. But this just goes to show how serious things can get in HOA communities if you don't abide by the laws. And if you get fined and you say like, screw this, I'm not going to pay it. What are they going to do? Baby, this is what they're going to do. They have the option to place liens on your house. They can foreclose on your home over you not paying your fines. It could be a $200 fine for, I don't know, maybe not keeping your grass cut or not pulling your trash bin back to the house, or having a satellite dish in the front of the yard when it's supposed to be in the back. Anything. That's why it's very important that you get those bylaws and restrictions pulled before you close on the house to see if, hey, I know I'm not going to abide by this, so let me not even buy a house over here. Or I don't mind following the rules because I like my community nice and upkept, so I'm not going to be an issue. But if you know that you are problematic, if you know you don't like to listen, if you know you like to live life on your own terms, maybe a HOA might not be for you.
I've heard way too many horror stories when it comes to HOA. People having fees due to not collecting their trash can at the correct time. Oh, you left your trash can out too long. Who want to deal with that? I can't even go on vacation. Say I went on vacation and I got home late due to traffic. Now I'm in trouble. Anything. Like you said, it could be any reason. Any reason. That's just me personally. That's nothing I would want to deal with. There are people that probably enjoy it, love it. Like she said, they want their property well kept in their area, not just their property, but their community, right? Everybody has to follow by the guidelines. There are people that's for. Then other people, that's just not for them.
Thank you for calling Access Management Group.
You're blocked. Quigley, upset with her HOA's billing process, decided to take a stand and refused to pay her dues, about $700 that year. But that only led to letters from Lozeka and Johansson, the law firm hired to collect on the debt. And that debt had grown.
Walked in, paid him the $2,700, and when I walked out, I said, "This is all I owe, right?" "Yes."
But it wasn't all you owed.
"No."
Shortly after, she received another bill for $3,000. She called and sent letters trying to figure out why. But all Quigley says she got in return were cryptic statements, dates with amounts that didn't make any sense to her.
Then here comes the next set of letters. And now it's up to $6,400.
Turns out there were post-judgment legal fees and 18% back interest. So even after she'd paid more than $9,000, she was still somehow behind on her dues. But in 2018, she received the most shocking letter of all, an eviction notice.
You know, you lose your home. That's hard.
But sadness turned to anger when she realized the HOA had purchased her home through foreclosure for $3.24 a year before she was evicted.
I've shared about how ridiculous some HOAs are, but I want to tell you something that I saw today because this was even new to me, and I'm just like shocked at how much they are ripping people off. When a person is selling a property and that property has an HOA, that seller typically has to pay an upfront fee for the document prep, and basically that in and of itself is kind of a ripoff, but it gets worse. So it's typically like $500 or $600 in my area, and the reason that's a ripoff is because most of those documents that they simply email over to escrow are standard. They're CC&Rs and things that are already on file. And then they have a quick update of, their this month's financials and this month's meeting minutes, and boom, $600. But some properties have more than one HOA. I've seen quite a few with 2. Up until today, I don't think I've ever seen one with 3. This property has 3 HOAs, and the document prep fee, remember, this is required. The seller really can't opt out of this. The document prep fee is $3,011.52.
Over $3,000 for documents. Boy, what? Nah, man. Y'all can keep that. Matter of fact, I would like to keep my $3,000. I'm good on the HOA. And she said there are some properties with 3 of them. Not just 1, 3. I didn't know that. This is new information. I learned something new here. 3 of them? Sounds like a headache to me. Sounds like too many people watching me and what I do with my property, That's what it sounds like to me. Too many eyes on me and mine, in my household. You see what I'm saying? Like, man, I couldn't deal with that one.
Have you guys heard the story from the young lady who says that her HOA is in the process of foreclosing on her townhouse because she does not have a $23,000 special assessment fee that she claims her real estate agent never disclosed to her prior to purchasing the home in 2024? Yeah, so this young lady is saying that her agent was fully aware that there was a special assessment that was being levied on all of the homeowners in the community while she was going through her purchase process. She claims that about 2 weeks prior to her closing on her townhouse in this community, her agent was provided with some documents that disclose the special assessment, which was roughly between about $22,000 to $23,000, and that her agent never shared this information with her regarding this special assessment. Fast forward now to 2025, she says at the top of this year, she received notice in the mail from the HOA that her portion of this special assessment is $23,000, in which she says that was a complete shock to her. It was something that she just simply was not aware that she would be responsible for. Upon her further investigating, she learned that the special assessment had already been in process months prior to her even purchasing the home. This was something that had already been disclosed to all homeowners. A date had already been given as to when this special assessment would be due, and that she would still be on the hook for it as she is the current owner of the property, and that is going to be her portion. So of course she is highly upset. She is blaming her agent, stating that her agent never disclosed this information to her, and had she been made aware of this information, she would not have pushed forward with the purchase of the home, as she simply does not have $23,000 to pay this special assessment for repairs or updates that needed to happen prior to her even purchasing the home.
I know that's right. I definitely wouldn't have purchased it. And the agent knew that. That's why she didn't disclose that information. That's bogus. Sounds like she got played. She got scammed. And whoever got out of that property last, they probably didn't want to be there because they knew that this special assessment was coming up. They had to pay these fees, and they wouldn't have the $23,000 either. So you mean to tell me this homeowner went to purchase this home and there are updates that need to be done and they didn't do them, and they want to charge her for the work that they didn't do? Y'all can't tell me that's not no scam. She didn't get played. Y'all can't say she didn't get played. They should have covered that before the house got sold, my opinion. Listen, I don't know too much about HOA. I'm learning here, but that's stupid to me. That's dumb to me. That's a scheme, man. Why would you want to have that if they can hit you with random fees and special assessments and charge you for the updates that they didn't do themselves prior to selling you the property?
So she's been asked, of course, a lot of questions in her comments, especially from us real estate professionals. I just feel like there's very specific, very valid information that is missing that will help bring this together a little better for me. And the question that I have is, I know every state has some form of a HOA disclosure, a community association disclosure, some type of document that the seller is required to answer in regards to the stability of said HOA. And generally, one of those questions on that document asked, are there any special assessments pending or any special assessments due at this time? If so, there's a blank box and the seller is supposed to write in what that special assessment is. There are some other questions on that document, but specifically surrounding this story, the special assessment piece is the most relevant. My question is, with her purchase contract, with her offer, what were the exhibits, what were the addendums that were a part of this purchase contract? Because the HOA Community Association disclosure should have been one of those documents, and that can immediately help point her in the right direction as to who could potentially be at fault, if anyone, as it relates to this misinformation or lack thereof disclosure surrounding this special assessment. Now, the young lady is saying that from what she understands from her agent is about 2 weeks prior to her closing on her house, her agent received documentation from the listing agent that disclosed the special assessment. Now, this is where things get a little wonky, because she says at this point, her agent never forwarded that information to her. So she was in the dark about this special assessment, and she pushed forward with the purchase of the property. She says she went to the agent's broker to state her concerns and her grievances regarding this newfound information, and the broker basically pushed her off, that she wasn't really getting anywhere with the broker. They spoke about E&O insurance, which is an insurance that most of us real estate agents, we do have through our brokers. In the event that we make a mistake, the E&O insurance can step in to make a client whole, just depending on what that insurance policy covers in terms of a dollar amount. She says this E&O insurance with this particular broker is only $5,000. However, we know she needs at least $23,000. Next up, she says she spoke with the agent with her concerns about not being made aware of the special assessment. And she says that the agent told her that she might as well just pay the $23,000 because the amount of money that she would come out of pocket hiring an attorney to sue her for the lack thereof disclosure, it would be more money. So it wouldn't make sense for her to come after her for the $23,000 because it's just cheaper for her to pay the money, which is wild to me that this agent would even say this. So my question is, what do y'all think happened? Do you think that the agent, especially, and this is more to my real estate professionals, because I already know the general public, y'all gonna have y'all opinion about it and say that, yep, the agent scammed her, blah, blah, blah. But from a professional standpoint, my real estate agents that follow me, any real estate agents that see this video, what do you guys think happened? I know we're all probably in different states, but in your state, is it even possible for a HOA document, a community association document specifically, is it possible for that document not to make its way to be a part of a contract, especially if the listing agent sent it over to be executed by the buyer side? Is it simply the listing agent sent it over so that it can be added as an addendum to the original purchase contract, and the buyer's agent never forwarded over to the buyer, so the listing agent didn't rock the boat with it? Because at least I know from my perspective as a listing agent, that's a huge concern with trying to get a property sold, knowing that there is a pending special assessment of $23,000. Essentially, no one wants to buy something that, especially market value at buying something, and then months down the line have to cut a check for $23,000. At best, if that was presented to me as a buyer's agent for my client, either my client is going to outright say no once I present it to them, or I'm going to recommend that we negotiate a reduction in price or negotiate additional seller monetary concessions so that when that bill is due, my client has the money to pay that bill and not be put in a financial bind, or at this point, threaten foreclosure because I don't have the money to pay it. So my real estate professionals here, what do you guys think happened in this scenario? I'm going to repost one of her videos so that y'all can go down the rabbit hole and get some more details. But I think I pretty much summed up everything that she said as it relates to this. But I'm just curious as to what exactly was a part of their original purchase contract. What exhibits were a part of it? Did the listing agent actually send over an addendum to the community association disclosure, and her agent truly did not present it to her, and the listing agent just said, well, whatever, they didn't send it back, so we're gonna keep the contract as is? How do you guys think it played out? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it.
What's good, real estate family? Man, I've seen a whole lot of shystiness doing wholesale real estate and real estate investing, but this one takes the cake right here. Every time I talk about investing in real estate and owning real estate, wholesaling real estate, I tell you to be a shark, be vigilant. Someone out there is looking to take your whole head off without any explanation. This poor woman lost her home to a $400 HOA fee. So in states kind of like North Carolina or Georgia, if there is a HOA fee or a lien on your home, someone can go and pay for that lien, or the state can take it for that lien and sell your home. In this case, her home got sold for $49K to an investor. The investor then later, only a few months later, flipped and sold that home for $860K, almost $1 million. Just came up like that with only $49,000 out their pocket. This lady's out of luck and out of her home. The HOA claims they sent her numerous letters stating that she owed these $400 in late fees. She claims she never got the notices. Then she did receive a letter that said she owes $1,200 or her home will be sold. She saw the letter for the $1,200 and said that it had to be a joke. She just wouldn't believe they're going to sell her whole house over $1,200 in HOA fees. HOA wasn't bullshitting. Her home got foreclosed on and sold. And it's crazy that they can even do that, but it's the reality. Them HOA people is hell for real, so you got to read your contract and know what's really going on with your HOA. And this is also why I teach how to wholesale and invest in real estate the most responsible way, because there are people who don't give a fuck about being moral or none of that. So make sure you stay vigilant, you keep it good with God and do right by people, or else this could happen to you, or you could be taking advantage of people and you know better than that.
This next clip, this woman's house was sold at the auction due to her unpaid HOA fees. And the reason she ended up losing the house in the first place is because they switched management companies. Her auto pay was no longer auto pay. Her fees weren't being automatically paid. But ironically, she ended up getting her house back. I'm gonna roll the clip so y'all can watch this one.
After her home was sold at auction because of unpaid HOA dues. Tonight, she has her home back.
We told you about Martha Hummel last November. Her house on Sundance Drive in Loveland was paid off. HOA fees were being paid automatically, or so she thought.
Yeah, the HOA switched management companies. The automatic payments weren't going to the new one. At the time, Hummel was disabled from severe depression and other health conditions. She didn't realize anything was amiss until she saw the eviction notice on her door.
I was shocked. I had no understanding of any of it.
Last July, Judge McDonald agreed with Martha's position and issued a final order that set aside the default judgment against her and also allowed her to pay the HOA fees that were due and owing.
And just this week, we learned Hummel had to pay the $19,000 to get the deed changed to her name again. But then the judge voided the sheriff's sale of the property. The investment company that bought the house apparently plans to appeal. A company representative declined to comment tonight.
Okay, so I saw this unfortunate headline a few days ago about this Texas homeowner, and I just wanted to share and explain the consequences of not paying HOA fees so more people are aware and they know their options if experiencing financial difficulties. So let's get into it. Not paying your homeowners association fees can have several consequences, which may vary depending on the specific HOA rules and the regulations, as well as local laws. Number one, late fees and interest. HOAs typically impose late fees and interest charges for unpaid dues. This additional charge can accumulate over time, increasing the amount that you owe. Number 2, suspension of services. The HOA may suspend certain services or amenities provided to homeowners who are delinquent in paying their fees. This could include services like landscaping, trash removal, or access to common areas like pools, gyms. 3, legal action. The HOA has the right to pursue legal action to collect unpaid fees. They may hire a collection agency or file a lawsuit against the homeowner. Legal action can result in additional costs and potential damage to your credit score. 4, liens and foreclosure. In some cases, if the delinquent fees remain unpaid for an extended period, the HOA may place a lien on the property. A lien gives the HOA a legal claim to the property, and they can proceed with foreclosure proceedings to recover the debt. This could ultimately lead to the loss of your home, which is what happened to this Texas homeowner right here. 5, damage to credit score. Unpaid HOA fees, especially if they result in a lawsuit or foreclosure, can have a negative impact on your credit score. Now, this can make it more challenging to secure loans or favorable interest rates in the future. It's so important to review your HOA's governing documents and understand the specific consequences outlined in their rules and regulations. If you're facing financial difficulties, it may be beneficial to communicate them with the HOA and explore possible payment arrangements or options for assistance. I really hope this helps someone. Let me know your thoughts about HOA in the comments. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me.
An East Tennessee man was surprised with homeowners association fees that were part of the closing costs on his home in Knoxville.
Another thing that caught his attention were HOA fees that the buyer of his home had to pay. 6 on Your Side consumer reporter Don Dare was asked to look into the questions that he raised. Don.
Well, Lori, he wondered if some of the fees could be a deal killer. That's because the fees were revealed just 2 days before the closing. The issues were raised when the retired business executive we spoke with left his home in Knoxville that had a homeowners association. HOAs are an important part of the quality of life in a housing community, and you are expected to pay association dues as part of living in a managed development. However, if you decide to move from a community with an HOA or move into a previously owned unit that has an HOA, you may expect some last-minute expenses.
Oh.
Ralph Tucker recently moved to a new home in Jefferson County. He's a retired business owner and a University of Tennessee graduate. He went on to receive an MBA and a PhD at 2 other schools. Mr. Tucker is familiar with contracts and what should be disclosed in them. He moved from the Hearthstone neighborhood in North Knoxville last May. The relatively new community has a homeowners association, which he appreciated. But 2 days before the closing on his old house, a fee dealing with the development's HOA caught his attention.
I took a look at it. Everything looked fine. There was a $200 fee, and I assumed, and we know what that means, that it was a fee that was going to the HOA treasury. I subsequently found out that was not the case.
Oh. The fee he had to pay is written in small print.
It's described as a HOA estoppel fee. Estoppel fee.
In real estate legal terms, an estoppel fee is presented at closing to resolve all accounts between the HOA and the seller before the property changes ownership. Mr. Tucker assumed the fee would be paid to the Hearthstone HOA.
I found out that it didn't go to the HOA, and I have been told by non-legal personnel that they don't believe it's a legal fee because it was not board approved by the HOA.
The fee instead went to the Cedar Management Group, a company that manages homeowners associations like that at Hearthstone. Mr. Tucker questioned the fee. In its response to him, Cedar Management writes, "The fees are not part of the contract between Cedar and the Hearthstone HOA and are not charged to the board. They are part of normal closing costs."
Well, they told me that that the fee was legitimate, that was their overhead.
There was another closing fee that caught his attention. Mr. Tucker's daughter sold her home at Hearthstone a few months after he sold his. When he compared his closing costs to hers, there was a difference in terminology.
This is my daughter's closing statement. She paid a $200 fee. Hers was called differently an HOA certification fee.
And yours is called?
An estoppel fee.
Cedar Management sent this explanation of the certification fee. The certification fee is an administrative fee that covers the cost of certifying the dues and advising of any outstanding fees associated with the property. Mr. Tucker then questioned some closing fees paid by the buyer of his house. They included 2 separate fees for a total of $525.
The people that bought my house paid a capital contribution fee, which hopefully did go into the funding, the HOA treasury.
A capital contribution fee is the initial cost a new owner pays to become part of the development's HOA. Of $525, they paid $125 into the HOA treasury.
That's correct. That was a capital contribution.
Where's the other?
It's an administrative fee that, to the best of my knowledge, and in my opinion, stays with the management company.
Mr. Tucker discovered there were different buyer fees from $400 to $525 paid from May through September.
My concern, quite honestly, is that as people sell properties, at some point with high interest rates, a buyer's going to come in and look at a $500 administrative fee and back out of the deal.
And you don't want that.
I wouldn't think so.
Now, Cedar Management Group answered all of Mr. Tucker's questions. We reached out to the company for comment and have not heard back. As we saw in that story, both the buyer and seller were responsible for paying HOA fees at closing. We're told it all really depends on the situation and the agreement entered upon. If you want to avoid any surprises at closing, the first step would be checking with the closing attorney. He or she will disclose the fees that both the seller and the buyer are responsible to pay. So, is it wise then to hire an attorney if you sell or buy into a community with an HOA? Yes, especially if you don't want to be surprised. Don?
Moral of the story here is people need to invest into an attorney. That way they know exactly what they have to pay. That way there's no surprise when it comes to these HOA fees and additional charges that they didn't expect to have to pay. See, people didn't do their due diligence. And I believe this is why some people don't want to deal with anything that has to do with HOA. They want to stay far away from it. If you're a homeowner, let me know, is there a specific reason why you would not want to be in an area that has HOA? And if you live in an area that has HOA, let me know, how much do you pay? How much do you pay per month? Have you had any unexpected fees that have drained you or that were a shock to you?
Hi guys, I have a question. Why do so many people not like HOA? I really think it's just because of the movies and TV shows we watch that there's such a bad stigma around it. But most likely, if you want to live in the city and you want to live in a condo and you don't want to pay rent anymore, but you want the same views, same style, you're probably going to have to pay HOA. So I am here to tell you the good things about HOA and not rub it in the ground any further. Number one, your HOA can include a lot of your utilities. I've seen HOAs include water, sewage, trash, even internet, gas, heat. I've also seen on the other end where HOA does include like lawn care, exterior maintenance, water, just a couple of things. Just depends on where you are and what your building is. Also, did you know that once you are an owner in the building, you are now a part of the association? So that means that you have regular meetings, you do have a say on what goes on. You can be elected as a member on the board, you can vote for who's a member on the board, you have a say. I don't think people know that. And if you're searching to purchase a condo right now, definitely ask how much are in reserves. That way you aren't surprised later if there's any repairs that come up. Depending on how much is in reserves will let you know if there's going to be any special assessments. So if the roof needs work later, is it coming out of your pocket or is it coming out of the reserves? All right, thanks guys. Leave comments below or tell me why you hate HOA.
I'm gonna go on a rant here because I swear that I can't hold this any longer, but literally HOAs are the biggest scams in real estate. And I'm gonna give you some of the most outrageous fucking fees that some of my clients have gotten over the past couple of years because of HOAs. All of these HOA companies are now just becoming for-profit centers. I swear that they're not looking after the benefit of the homeowner or the community. They're just trying to make as much money as possible. So I had a client who was getting charged $50 a day for having a work van in his driveway. So not even on the street, it was literally in his driveway with his other car. Here's what happened. He went out of the country for 3 weeks, didn't really realize that he was getting charged $50 a day. So when he got the bill in the mail, it was for a fine of $1,500. Now, I had another client who had a bicycle, like literally in the front of his house, and he was getting charged $30 a day for having that bike. I recently started getting charged $25 a day for having curtains on my balcony, and this is what my balcony looks like literally sunlight comes in directly. So we thought it was a good idea to have some curtains to protect us and actually be able to enjoy the freaking balcony during the summer. Well, $35 a day is what we were getting charged by the HOA because it was a violation. Then I had this plank fall off my garage, and that was another one. It was $25 a day because I had to go and get the garage fixed. But in fact, it was actually their job to get the garage fixed for me, but instead they started just charging me $25 a day. I just got a letter in the mail about having the trash cans out too early. We have the trash service that comes every Friday. We put out the garbage I think on a Wednesday one time, and we got a letter in the mail that we're gonna start getting charged for having the trash cans way too early, that we were supposed to have them no earlier than on a Thursday evening. But the biggest one was a client of mine who actually got taken to court. This was about 5 years ago because he was renting his basement to a family member who was in need, and apparently his HOA didn't allow anybody to rent their units or their homes or part of the home without their approval. You can always complain about all these fees. I'm here complaining on this video about these fees, and you don't have to pay them, except that if you don't pay them, the HOA can actually take you to foreclosure. And that's something that a lot of people don't know. Anyways, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what are some of the dumbest HOA fines that you have gotten in your community, in your house. And stay the hell away from buying a home in an HOA if possible.
Being charged daily. This man is being charged daily. And that's what I was saying in the beginning of the video. Aren't they supposed to cover all of these services, these additional costs? So how does it go from you paying them to cover them to them charging you per day to get it fixed if you don't get it fixed? You have to pay per day that you don't get what needs fixed. I thought y'all were supposed to come out and get what needs to be fixed. I'm thinking that's what he was thinking too. What's going on here? What is HOA for if y'all not gonna do what y'all supposed to do? Let me know what y'all think about this video, family. If you made it to the end, drop a comment saying I made it. Like always, as you know, this is for those that finish the things that they commit to. That says a lot about you as a person. I appreciate your family. Peace. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Shalom.